Hollie, what's good in your life?
One of the good things in my life is that I changed my bed sheets this week. The bed sheets that we did have before. No, this is...
It's been a tough time in lockdown.
Hello and welcome to Good for a Change. This is a podcast where we aim to combat the awful everyday news you hear with stories that will make you smile. I'm Jarrod, and with me as always, but not with me, is Hollie.
Hello, Hollie.
And also with me, but not with me, is Sean.
Hello.
You really got into that hello, Hollie this time.
I was keen.
Yeah. Can I say something quickly before we begin?
Always.
I just want to say how much of a banger our opening music is. Is it not?
It is a tune, as the kids saying.
It is a tune and a half.
If only, we'd probably need to chart on the podcast charts more for it to chart as an actual song. So I don't think it's about to become a global banger yet.
No, but... it is top 100 banger worthy, I think is the award that it just won at the Grammys.
We were watching Spicks and Specs from 2004 yesterday. Duh.
As you do.
As you do. And they did a bit on, what's the worst song? And there was this list of, 100 of the worst songs. Number 3 was, Agadoo.
What's Agadoo?
Agadoo.
And that's enough because we don't want to have copyright issues.
And that, you know the one, and they talk about pushing a pineapple.
Shaking a tree.
And shaking a tree. It was number 4 worst song, and no, it was number 3 worst song, and then number 4 worst song was the Macarena. I was like, Agadoo is better than the Macarena.
My God, if we hadn't lost people already. Let's get back on track. Sean, have you got some good news? Because I need it now. They know that Agadoo was the 3rd worst song in 2004.
I do have some good news. Well, I suppose it's good news. We'll find out 100% what you think after, but in Austria, there was a Chinese restaurant, and it was home to the Guinness World Record holding largest glass bottle of wine in the world. It was a 1,590 litre bottle of wine, a red wine made in Germany called 100 years or something because of how it had or 100 days, I think it was, because of how long they I don't know what you do with wine stomped on it for 100 days or something like that. But
Got to eat some podiatry problems, wouldn't it?
But it's in the news because unfortunately, it leaked.
Oh, I was kind of hoping it was going to be smashed.
Well, it took 6 firefighters quite a while to clean up this gigantic leak from this world record holding bottle of wine.
You know what they say about red wine, though? Clean up red wine. They should have spilt 200 litres of white wine on it to get it up.
That might be the best joke that we've ever had.
Oh dear.
Yeah, well done. Applaud yourself, Hollie. Well done.
Before the leak, it all weighed about 2.6 tons. This thing is huge, and it sat inside a large glass cabinet in this Chinese restaurant. And what they believe happened was, it's not like someone dropped the bottle when they were pouring it or something like that. What happened was there was a power failure in the building, and this glass cabinet that it was in was temperature controlled, and so the wine, which was being cooled, I know you don't normally do that with a red wine, but it was being chilled. But it was
no one was drinking it.
No one was drinking it, and then it was the chilling stopped, and it expanded, and then it expanded out the giant cork in the top, and just flooded.
Like when you put water in a freezer.
Yeah, and it just flooded the restaurant, and it took 6 firefighters to clean it up. Sadly, they were gonna donate they were gonna donate it to charity or something. I think they were gonna sell off, you could have a glass from this giant bottle of wine at some point in the future. They did manage to salvage some of it.
Well, that's good.
Which is good news, yeah. And then they took it off to be tested to see if it was still fit for consumption.
Yep.
And it was. Yes. So they've rebottled some of it, and they're going to sell it off, and I think it's still going to go to charity, the funds that were made.
So how many litres was this bottle, sorry?
I believe it was 1,590 litres in the first place.
So what is the dimensions of this bottle?
Yeah, it must have been huge.
You could fit a person in there. I'm pretty sure you could quite easily fit a person in there.
See, even then I would expect it to be bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge. I think to sort out the problem and to get the remaining liquid out, they had to use a giant cork pull, which was basically a drill with a bit on the end. And it was someone up a ladder, like, drilling into this giant fake bottle of wine. But the bottle itself took 3 years to make. Like, I guess they, like, glass blew it, and even that took a long process to make. So it's a huge thing, and then it just overnight just runs everywhere. And oh boy.
Can you imagine being like the junior that walks in on that? You're 15 years old, you've come into mop, and you're like, oh dear, oh no.
That's like, had it happened, like, I guess overnight or something, or did it start and they just didn't know how to stop it?
Yeah, I think because it was the power had tripped overnight, it was definitely someone arriving the next morning to find, oh no.
It sounds like a fantastic water feature, doesn't it?
Just this giant
Just like, I'm visualising like fountains of red wine.
I hope they had like it's awful for them, but I really hope there's like security camera footage of it actually happening.
That'd be amazing.
Because surely you'd think they've had a camera on this thing.
Yeah.
Because, it's a giant charity bottle of, wine. Yeah. Like, you'd think there has to be video somewhere. I'm telling them now to release it. Like, people had released the Snyder Cut or whatever it is on Googling on Twitter. I'm going release the wine bottle.
Release the wine bottle.
Release the cork.
Release the cork cut.
Release the cork. I saw one article and it said, like, we're not exactly sure what's going to happen to the giant glass bottle, but we're sure that, like, Austria's top recycling team will be onto it.
God, just chuck it in a giant recycling bin.
Just it on the top.
No, what you do is you empty it out and then you put in a giant candle. What kind of wine was it?
It was red wine.
You know what kind of red wine?
It was a German...
Was it a Merlot?
It was a German red wine, and it...
A Shiraz?
It had a very specific...
They're the only red wine words I know.
It had a...
Rioja?
It had a very specific German name, which I can't remember off the top of my head what it was.
Das Reden Weinen?
Yeah, das
It's actually...
Rotwein.
It's meant to be quite detoxifying, isn't it, red wine? So they could charge as, like, a red wine spa. There is a red wine spa.
Oh, yeah, there is
In
too.
Japan, you can go and you can, like... They've filled up a pool with red wine, and you go and you swim in the red wine. I think you come out drunk.
You would think so.
But they, like, fill it up with red wine because it's really good for your skin.
At Christmas, they could, like, put some spices in it and do, like, a...
bit of orange.
A bit of mulled wine spa. I think that's an amazing idea. We should ditch this podcast and just go into business with the mulled wine spa at Christmas time.
Mulled wine spa.
Done.
You could do, like, eggnog.
No,
You could
no,
do...
no. Now we've gone too far.
You've ruined
no.
it.
Oh,
You've ruined
boy.
Christmas.
Fizz.
Christmas. Wow, it's
Bucks Fizz
September
bar.
and Holly has ruined Christmas.
Thanks
Fantastic.
very much. Thanks very much.
Sorry, guys.
Well, can I get us on a news story? Speaking of, you know what? I've got no tangible link, so I'll just go
What,
straight
your story's
into my
not
story.
about like a giant spillage? That's
No,
so
it's
surprising.
not about giant spillage. It is a sad story, though. Like, I know this is good for a change, but
Guys,
it is a
what
sad
is going
story.
on here?
Guys, I want to tell you the tale of a sad penguin.
Oh no. Oh,
A
no.
penguin named Pierre.
Pierre.
Pierre recently washed up on a beach in Western Australia, and he was alone, and he was scared, and he was molting.
Oh no.
And because of the molting, he isn't waterproof, which means that he can't be let back into the wild until he's no longer molting, and that's a whole issue. So Pierre has been spending time in Perth Zoo's vet department.
Okay.
Unfortunately, though, there's no other penguins there, so Pierre has been lonely and has been displaying signs of sadness.
Oh, Pierre.
Yeah. Anyway, Hollie, what's your story? Okay. And so the vets, I should say, have come up with an idea to lift Pierre's spirits and have been showing Pierre some footage of other penguins on an iPad.
Oh.
Is that this what you're missing out on, Pierre?
Yep, some live streams of other zoos, all of which Pierre responded to very positively.
Oh,
that's
that's really
exciting.
nice.
So different zoos, and he's really quite interested. He's always, looking. There's a couple of videos that 7 News Adelaide have put on. He's watched a lot of footage on YouTube, and after one video, a new video played automatically, and Pierre was extremely receptive to it. And now Pierre has a new favourite television show,
Oh no, what is it?
Pingu.
Oh my gosh!
So, for those uninitiated, Pingu is a little sociopath claymation penguin who just says "noot noot" and wreaks havoc on the world. And yeah, little Pierre is addicted to it. So there's video again from 7 News, and he looks at he's kind of interested in the live streams, but then when they show him Pingu, he just stops with his little wings out and just stares the
Amazing.
whole time. So yeah, he's addicted to Pingu.
You know what's probably going to happen to him, and I feel like it's what happens to everyone that watches YouTube, is that you end up on a bit of a spiral. You start with one video, and then
TED
it goes on
Talks.
to the next.
Yeah, you get down to a hole.
TED Talks. That's where
It's
he's
going
going
to
to
end
end
with
up.
TED Talks.
He's going to be the most emotionally intelligent penguin in the world.
Because that's...
Yeah.
I don't know why the algorithm always works this way. I always know if I've been watching YouTube too long, because I end up watching a TED Talk.
Yeah.
And it's like, what pathway gets you from whatever video I was watching to start with onto a TED
Which
Talk?
is normally nonsense. Like, we're not intelligent watchers.
Well, sometimes we are.
Yeah, but mostly it's like nonsense. So to get from nonsense to like quality is like, oh, what have I done wrong?
He's watching Pingu, let's be honest. He's not going to be that
Yeah,
intelligent.
he's going to be alright.
He might start saying "noot noot."
That'd be great. Imagine if this penguin started saying "noot noot." You would get so many visitors to the zoo. You'd have to rename him Pingu from Pierre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pierre Gu Pinguer. Nope, doesn't work.
No, doesn't work. Worth a shot, but not everything's worth trying, Holly.
Let's try.
You ran out of your humour quota back at the start with that really good
Yeah,
joke,
that
and
was-
that's it
Yeah,
now.
that was a solid. It's all downhill from here. Not just this episode. I mean, the whole podcast.
Yeah, this is it forever.
We have peaked. It's interesting though. I despise Pingu, but it's funny like watching some of these shows. Like I remember Pingu from when I was a kid, but I never really realized what a little rat bag he was. For lack of a better term, I really want to say other words, but I won't. But it's like now you watch it through the lens of an adult. It's the same as Fireman Sam.
Norman?
We all remember Fireman Sam. Yes, I was going to say Norman. Norman is a little red-headed sociopath
Norman!
who is usually the cause of every fire in that show. Or he's around all the time, and he talks like this, and he just needs to go.
He really is awful. Like, the most recent Fireman Sam that I watched, he pushed one of the other children on a sleigh onto broken ice and then just, like, left them there.
Yeah, of course he did.
And then, like, Sam showed up, but, like...
Well, that's because Fireman Sam just knows that, like, he has to patrol around town because he knows Norman's going to do something with him.
It was
today.
literally like, I cannot believe that you've done this. Like, what a nightmare you must
I'm
be.
pretty sure they're going to put a tracker on Norman in the next episode, just because he's... like, a little ankle bracelet, because he needs it.
And here's the thing, they're not always recording Norman, you know? He must get up to some other things while the show's not recording.
He's done some stuff. Like I don't want to get dark, but, there's some stuff in his
He's
past.
a nightmare.
We got onto a real binge the other day of old 1990s children's television theme songs.
yeah.
Partially because Holly had the British growing up and we
Yep.
had the Australian growing up. We were trying to work out what shows were the same and what shows were different.
Because
And-
Tamlin didn't know what Mona the Vampire was.
Yeah, I don't know what Mona the Vampire is.
I don't know what Mona the Vampire is.
Exactly.
It's fantastic.
And equally, Holly doesn't know some Australian shows, so it was really fun sort of like cross-referencing these shows and singing along to the theme songs. And then, again, after that, we'd spent an hour at the dinner table with my mum and my sister, having listened to 30-second snippets of children's television theme songs. And that's the problem with YouTube, and that's how this penguin's obviously got onto Pingu.
Are there any, were there any, Holly, that you heard that you really enjoyed that you hadn't heard before?
I liked the trapdoor one.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe you don't know Trapdoor.
No, we didn't. I mean, I personally didn't have the trapdoor. I like the Okie Doke, but I'd heard Okie Doke.
Yeah, Okie Doke was
Yeah.
Another
Great
banger
show.
of a theme tune.
another banger.
I
of a
really
theme
love,
tune.
honestly, all of the Henson. Mop Top Shop is my number one favourite children's
great.
television programme. Bear in the Big Blue House, excellent songs in that one. The
Yep.
Hoops,
Oh,
we used to wait up at 6 o'clock in the morning for the Hoops to come on.
Yep.
Sometimes we recorded it on VHS. We loved the Hoops, obsessed.
look, I'm a big fan of the Round a Twist theme song.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was perfect. So when I studied film, my teacher was the dad from Round the Twist, but not the original dad. Remember they recast it all like in the last couple of seasons?
He wasn't the original dad?
No, he wasn't the original dad. He's the second dad.
I remember thinking this because when in this compilation of videos that we watched the other day, I knew that your teacher had been the dad from Round the Twist, and I was watching it and I was like, I don't remember him looking like that.
Yeah.
It's like, do you remember it was a television program? What was it called? It was called My Parents Are Aliens.
Yep.
And the whole show got completely recast.
Whoa.
Okay. Yep.
But I think the parents were the same, but all of the children were completely recast. And then they put
They
in some
did that a few
subplot.
times on Round the Twist. Like
Yeah?
the dad stayed the same for pretty much all of it until the end, but the kids changed because they were obviously growing up and they wanted to keep them young. But yeah, no, the dad was my teacher, and one of the very first days he was giving us a lecture on something, whatever it was, and he said, "Does anybody have any questions?" And one guy put his hand up and he said, "Can you tell us about Round the Twist?" And the teacher went, "Fine." He goes, "You know what? I'll give you 10 minutes. You can ask all your Round the Twist questions, but then you never bring it up again." And he went, "Yep, great." And so we went for probably 10 minutes and he said, "Right, that's it. I've cut you off. That's it. No more Round the Twist for the rest of your time at this university." And someone went, "Okay." Anyway, a couple of minutes later, he goes, "So then we got any other questions?" And one person put their hand up and said, "Yes, sir. Have you ever felt like this?" And he just
That
looked
person
and
was
he
kicked out of the university.
yeah, and that was it, and we never saw them again. Yeah, look, Round the Twist, classic.
Classic.
I think we need to get Pierre onto some better shows than Pingu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, even Blinky Bill, classic cartoon adventure.
Penguins
Blinky
of Madagascar.
get him on Penguins of Madagascar.
Brilliant. I love Penguins of Madagascar. The Phillip Island penguins have been broadcast recently as well, haven't they?
Yeah, maybe we need to get him onto the live stream of the Phillip Island Penguins.
They had something like how many millions of views or something from 84 countries.
Yeah, I think at first count after the first night it was 700,000, and I'm sure that would have only just gone up
Yeah,
to
and it's
millions
gone way up.
since then.
Yeah, but it was from 84 countries.
Amazing.
Should we explain what they do?
They are penguins, and they're the little penguins, and every night they arrive on the beach at Phillip Island, which is in Australia, sort of down the road from us, and they waddle up the beach for their little nests, and you can go to Phillip Island and you can watch them.
Loads of them.
Yeah, there's so many penguins.
Hundreds of them.
You
And then you walk back
And
up.
they say Newton.
Yeah, they do all say Newt Newt.
When we brought Hollie down to Melbourne the first time, my mum was like, "Oh, we'll take Hollie to the penguins," and I was like, "Oh, mum, come on, that's so naff, that's so touristy, I don't know if we want to take Hollie to the penguins."
Changed my life.
I hadn't been in years.
I'm a different person now.
And we went and saw it, and I was moved. I was like, "This is amazing. I actually really enjoyed this," and I can't believe that I was sort of coming down here was like, "This is a stupid idea."
Awesome. It was a great time.
Look, last thing I'll say about Pingu before we move on to Hollie's story is earlier this year I was at Supernova, which is a bit like Comic-Con in Melbourne, and there was a guy dressed as Pingu.
Oh no.
And he had a sandwich board that he was wearing that just said "Send Newts" and then his mobile number, and I thought that was very funny.
That is funny.
And every time I tried to engage him in conversation, he would only respond in Newt Newt.
That's not as funny.
That gets old quick.
It gets old quick, and so does talking about Round the Twist and Pingu. So Hollie, please get us on a different tangent.
I absolutely will. So my story this week was sent in to me.
Ooh.
I know, exciting, by Tamlin.
Okay, so not sent in to you rather than told from you.
Yeah, it was
from the next
texted
bedroom.
to me.
Oh well.
Yeah,
There we go. It was submitted.
it was submitted.
Okay, nice.
So Tamlin sent me this story, and it is about New South Wales creating a new national park for the koalas.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Yeah, so they have set aside a huge swathe of land to help support the koalas that were potentially really badly affected during the bushfires earlier this year.
Of course.
And basically they're expecting to have 130 native animal species, I think something like 30 of them endangered.
Oh.
And the purpose of it is to basically prevent the extinction of koalas in the next 30 years, and also to stop chlamydia.
Amazing.
Vital.
Yep, I'm going to skip over that. So what are they doing? Are they planting a bunch of trees? Are they just transporting these koalas to the national park?
I think they're just taking the koalas to the park.
Okay.
They've committed $45 million to protect the koalas' habitat. So I think it's habitat that belonged to the koalas prior to this. It's called, and I apologise if I pronounce this wrong, Golanangara, which translates roughly to koala country in the local Aboriginal language, which is cool as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so significant because I remember there was a lot of like doomsayer news months ago about how like this is it, koalas are basically extinct now after the bushfires, which were horrible. So it's really good to hear that like they're putting something so actively in place to try and prevent that from happening.
$45 million as well, like.
That's significant. Like, that's not pocket change.
So they're moving into these trees, these koalas. Does that mean I can send them tree mail?
Oh, what a throwback.
Yeah.
What a link. What a link.
That's like some episode 1 goodness back there.
That is original Good for a Change.
There's going to be some people listening to this that don't even understand what that reference is, in which case, go back to the start and listen to like episode 1 where we talk about trees in Melbourne receiving emails.
I know, that's before we started waffling and only went 17 minutes for a full episode.
We were like, there's a thing called tree mail. Good.
Good, next.
So they're moving into these areas, and I know that like koalas are like really fussy eaters.
Yeah.
So like I wonder if that's going to be an issue, because I know that like when they first started exporting koalas around the world, they were having issues with these koalas that they weren't eating the eucalyptus leaves from these different areas in the world, and they thought, it'll be fine, but it wasn't.
I think that it is a place where they have always been. I think that's the thing. And I am, and I don't want to sound over dramatic here, pretty much a professional at looking for koalas.
I've heard that.
Yeah. When we went to Queensland, I literally spent 8 hours a day looking out of the car window for koalas. But I think it is like koala zone.
Yeah.
And then they're like moving in maybe injured koalas or rehabilitated koalas.
Yeah.
And other kind of indigenous species, which is really cool.
So the best koala I think I ever met was a couple of months ago, Hollie, when we went to the sanctuary for your birthday.
Remember when we could all be together?
And do you remember that koala? It would eat, and then rather than like, you know, set the leaf down when it was finished, it would just drop it on the floor, like drop the mic, like that Obama gif, and then it would just look at the keeper and be like, "Give me another one."
Well, the keeper was like, she'll tell you when she needs more. Like, don't worry, she'll be okay. And I was like, all right, calm down. I'm not a koala whisperer, but I was like, oh no, she's quite clear.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, she was pretty much making lobby. She was basically slapping it out of your hand to take some more.
Actually, that's enough, Hollie. I'm done with this. It wasn't even done. It wasn't even finished. It was like, enough.
Fresh ones, please.
What a hero. Yeah, so I just think that's really brilliant that is kind of a government run thing, and that they are protecting the species, because it was pretty devastating in January for them.
I think like a lot of the writing was that at the time it was they were going to be extinct. So that's a really good turnaround for that.
Yeah.
Good work, New South Wales.
Well, if you've got any good news, maybe you've saved a koala. I don't know. But if you've got any good news, you can email us at goodforachangepodcast@gmail.com, because we'd love to hear your good news. Maybe we'll share it on the podcast. Maybe you'll hear us talking about your news in the future.
Well, besides saving koalas, I mean, I don't know if you've saved any koalas, Sean, but I just assume you have.
Relentlessly?
Relentlessly? I don't think that's the word. It's not like he's relentlessly saving koalas.
He's outside and he just catching them out of trees, like, come on, mate.
Catch them out of trees. They're not even in danger. He's just grabbing them. Grabbing them, putting them in cages. I've saved you. Well, besides kidnapping koalas, Sean, what's good in your life, my friend?
I have been on Instagram a lot during lockdown, trying to take a look at some interesting things going on in the world. And one thing that has actually inspired me while I've been on there is one of the Disney Imagineers called Jarrod. He's responsible for like Animal Kingdom in Walt Disney World, a lot of the big design elements of a number of Disney parks and attractions. He's just been doing this like random little activity where he'll get a picture of like his pool cover, and where it's like pulled up with water on top, he turns it into like a map. So like the puddles will be the ocean, and then the bits of matting around it will be like islands or land. And then he basically encourages his followers to sort of go, well, what do you think's happening in this land? What do you think it's like? And then he'll do like follow-up images, sort of like zooming in on those lands, saying like, oh, this is like an ancient ruins of like, oh, and now what do you think would have left these ancient ruins? And then he'll do another one that features like whatever the sort of Instagram users have come up with. And I just think it's so inspiring to see like the way that the Disney Imagineers work and create worlds and build them up. And that really, it's such a simple thing that it can just be like, this puddle on the side of the ground can inspire you to create a whole world. And he's done like 5 or 6 of them now. So like,
I was gonna say, I'm just having a quick look through his page now, and they're very impressive.
yeah, he does these like little digital. I think he's trying to like train himself up to do a bit more digital painting as well. That's one of the things that sort of spurred him on. And so
the
he's
mind
just
going, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the results are great. Like it's so fascinating to watch him work.
It's quite interesting as well to see how people do these designs. Like I studied animation, and my style's very Simpson meets Muppets.
Yeah,
easiest way to describe it.
Yeah.
And a teacher was saying to me once, like, a great way to get new sort of character designs and stuff is basically to just, like, it has to be on a Wacom or a tablet or something, is squiggle. Just as many squiggles you can think of. Obviously don't go nuts, but, you know, squiggle around. And then find shapes within that squiggle. And I have a particular character, and my first run at him was very Simpson-y. It was pretty much just a Simpson character. And he ended up looking like basically an arch with legs in the end, which was a style completely different to anything I would have ever done before. And so it's really, I find it quite interesting, you know, finding shapes in different things, like this pool cover, or some people use clouds. They'll take a photo of a cloud and they'll say, all right, what character can I make out of that? So yeah, I think that's really interesting. He's quite impressive.
Yeah, and it's got me inspired to be more creative in what we do, sort of thing as well. So yeah, I'm really, really grateful for that. How about
Lovely.
How about you, Jarrod? What's good in your life right now?
Well, I've spoken before about my website, Muppet Mindset, muppetmindset.com, #shameless plug.
Pardon, I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of it? And, you know, I've gotten to do some pretty cool things. I've spoken about it on the podcast before. But literally just today, in fact, at time of recording, I got to interview Kermit the Frog.
Whoa.
Who?
Oh, yeah, he's don't worry about it. He's a tea lizard from that meme. But like, Kermit's the be-all and end-all, as far as I'm concerned, Muppet-wise. I'm a big Kermit fan. I've got Kermit's eye tattooed to my wrist.
Yeah.
And, you know, I got to take a photo with Kermit back in 2015, which I had blown up and hanging on my walls for a good 3-4 years. And so I actually got to do comedy bits, basically, with Kermit. Like, I got to pitch jokes to Matt Vogel, his puppeteer. We sort of workshopped, all right, well, what can we do here? What can we do there? This will be funny. Why don't we do this? So, you know, I guess I can almost strike, like, write comedy for Kermit the Frog off my bucket list.
Done.
That's
You've
amazing.
done it.
Done. It was cool because, you know, obviously with these things, I had people from Disney on the call watching. And obviously, you know, there is some concern of like, oh, what are they going to think? Are they going to want anything taken out? Whatever it was.
Yeah.
But at the end, I said to them, you know, do you want a copy of it? Do you want to say anything? And they went, no, we trust you. Like, that was good.
Wow.
And so it was
That's
just
awesome.
nice to have that little bit of validation, I think. You know, sometimes running a fan site, it does feel like I'm screaming into the wind a little bit. But then I get to do things like this, and I'm like, okay, yep, nah, cool. I'm doing the right thing.
That's really awesome. That's really cool.
It's lovely. So that will be up. I mean, I don't know when you're watching this, but it should be up. If it's not up now, it'll be up in a couple of days, unless you're watching this in 2025, in which case it was up 5 years ago.
Which is when I'm listening to it.
Hollie,
Yeah.
my friend, what's good in your life?
Let me tell you what's good in my life, Jarrod. You've already seen it. I sent it to you already because it's fantastic and honestly, comedy gold. I found this Snapchat filter wherein you take your eyeballs and you take your mouth and you can put it on any picture.
Classic.
What I've done is I've taken my eyeballs and my mouth and I've put it onto pictures of our dog. And then I will narrate her life through the medium of Snapchat filter.
Yes, with quite a bizarre voice.
That's her. That's how she speaks. Don't be rude.
Okay. Look. She will put them on Instagram for people to look at.
Absolutely.
She does sound. For those wondering now, I've compared it to the YouTube character Miranda Sings.
Yeah.
Yep,
Sounds a little bit like her voice.
it does.
Well, Lexi has two voices. Lexi has that voice, which is her dog voice. And then she's also got her... Tamara and I speculate that perhaps she has been reincarnated from an old Russian man.
As most dogs were.
And so he'll say things like, "Oh, girls, give me some goulash. I am so tired of this dog food that I am eating." Kind of a vibe.
She went a little French at one point during that.
I lost it. Yeah, I lost it sort of in the middle. Because
Yeah. It's just vaguely European.
It's because she's not got the Snapchat filter on right now.
yeah, the
It's
dog's
hard
not
to bring your
here. I
character to
can't.
life.
But literally, we sit there all day, and I think that when lockdown's over and people are allowed in the house, they're gonna think we're honestly so weird, because all day we're like, "Oh, hello, I am the dog. Can I please go for a walk? Thank you." Just all day, like, "Oh, can I have some of that cake, please?"
I think you've gone insane. I'm not even here right now. You're just imagining me.
I genuinely.
I will start talking with a Russian accent soon. That is just your brain.
Did the Russian link that you guys created, did that come from the fact that you used to like wrap her in the blanket and she looks a
Yeah,
little bit like a
sometimes I
Russian
put
beggar
it
woman with
over-
a bowl of borscht?
I'm like, "Oh, I will sell you my babushka."
Like a little peasant lady.
She does look like she looks like a little old lady in a little blanket. I've got a picture of it because she hates cameras, but I take pictures of her relentlessly.
She's adorable. She is a wuss. Like, she's the silkiest dog I've ever met. But she's very cute.
She's a cutie.
I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I'll briefly mention it. Last time I was around at your house, when I was allowed in the same room as you, I sat on what I didn't know was the patting couch.
It's called the cuddle couch.
The cuddle couch, sorry. And she jumped on top and proceeded to fall asleep for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And only woke up because she fell off. She would start to slide and she was too big for me to like grab and pick back up. And she just...
I do have a
dropped
video
down.
representation of that through the medium of the Snapchat filter. What she might have been thinking in those moments.
Oh, okay, beautiful. Looking forward to it.
I work really hard on them. Yeah, that's honestly what's getting me through the lockdown at the moment. That is what's good in my life. And then I lost it. I lost the Snapchat filter for like 4 days. And I literally emailed Snapchat like a genuinely, "Hello, it's me. I was just wondering if there's a way of like finding your filter history, or if you could tell me what this filter is, or like what's going on." Because there was like 4 days where I couldn't find it, and it was not a good time for me. But it's back now.
Okay, good. Good. That is
But
going to be
that's
my
like-
good news story for next week.
Oh, it's a good time.
And we come out of the music. I'm playing this live. You guys can't see this, so you can't prove that I'm not doing it. You guys aren't in the room with me. You don't know what I'm doing. And there we go. Finished.
Stunning.
Thank you very much. How many stars would you give my my piano playing?
5 stars, definitely.
5 stars. But what else would you give 5 stars to?
I would give 5 stars to...
This podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was this podcast.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say chimichangas.
I was going to say chimichangas, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I would definitely give 5 stars to the Mexican restaurant chimichangas.
Yeah. Great.
Does it exist here? I don't know. It exists in England, and it's excellent. I love chimichangas.
I think it's just a style of food here.
Yeah.
Like a type of recipe.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
in the UK, it's a restaurant.
Not sponsored.
How many stars does the restaurant have?
Oh, I don't know. I think it varies from restaurant to restaurant.
And do you know why it would vary? Because they wouldn't have a policy.
They don't have the policy.
But we do. And Hollie, can you please tell people the policy?
Oh, yeah, let me just get the paperwork up.
Thank you.
That's called Foley. The policy reads, "Good for a change policy, 5-star reviews only." That's what the
That's
policy
it.
says.
That's
there it
it.
is.
We have to follow it. I'm sorry, we don't make the rules.
I don't make the rules.
It's amazing how short the actual policy wording is, considering how long you guys bang
There's
on about
more.
it.
There's more. It is double-sided. We won't go into the other side
Yeah,
at the
we
moment.
won't go into it. I do want to say, though, we won't harp on. I really enjoyed listening to last week's episode, Sean, because how long did Hollie and I go on our 5-star tangent for in real life? It went about 5 minutes. there was a lot edited out. Well done cutting it all. Anyway, I enjoy this show. Now I don't have to edit it. Sean, what should someone do if they have a good news story or if they want to see our good news stories?
Well, if you've got a good news story, you should email us at goodforachangepodcast@gmail.com, or you can jump onto our new Facebook group where we've got a whole bunch of community members from around the world contributing good news stories, spreading the good vibes, keeping the positivity going, which is really great and exciting. And thanks out there to all the people from the Derek the Globetrotting Pony, Derek Trotter the Globetrotting Pony. Because of that story we spoke about last week. Last week's episode was one of our most listened to episodes of all time. So get on the groups and get chatting and sharing news. You never know, your story might appear in one of our future episodes.
Much like Taman's story today.
Yeah.
In fact, next week I've got a story that I've had given to me.
And if you want to find any of our visual mediums, you can find that on our Instagram page at Good for a Change Podcast on Instagram. We share all of the images and videos and links and things that we speak about on the podcast.
Because it is my quest to make this show the most visual podcast of all time.
In the world.
And with that, we say goodbye. So thank you very much, Hollie.
Thank you, Jarrod.
Thank you very much, Sean.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Jarrod. You're welcome.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.